Every offseason, dozens of Dominican major leaguers return to their home country. This pitcher, standing beside his poster in his hometown, has saved 92 games for the Marlins over the last 3 years. But the name on this poster has never appeared in a big league box score. The pitcher, who signed professionally 12 years ago as Leo Nunez, is really Juan Carlos Oviedo.
It sounds good, since it's my actual name. It makes me feel like I have my name by blood, which was given to me by my mother and my father, who has passed away.
Last spring, someone whose identity has not been revealed went to Dominican authorities and exposed Oviedo for lying about his identity. Oviedo was in the U.S. on fraudulent documents, and in September, he was summoned back to the DR and arrested by Dominican police at the U.S. consulate in Santo Domingo. He had been using this visa, falsely claiming the name Leo Nunez and 1983 as his year of birth. Oviedo was really born in 1982, so he was 29 at the time, not 28. In January, another prominent Dominican pitcher was also busted for identity fraud. Cleveland right-hander Fausto Carmona has been a starter for the Indians since 2006. But his real name is Roberto Hernandez, and he was 31 at the time Dominican police arrested him, not 28 as listed.
It happened because when I started playing, I was 19, and I thought that was the way, that I could sign with a different age, 16. Because you know that here, when you start playing and you're 19 going on 20, the main thing is you're not going to sign. And that's what I did. And I was advised to do it. I had to do it.
According to Hernandez, in December, a stranger exposed his real identity on Dominican radio.
Roberto, how did we get to this point where somebody went on the radio and said to the entire Dominican audience, that is not Fausto Carmona?
Someone looking or trying to blackmail me, put pressure on me, looking for money.
Hernandez says he refused to meet the blackmailer's demands, and that the broadcast led to Hernandez's arrest.
That day, as we say here, the sky fell on me. I didn't know what to think at the time.
Oviedo reflected on the day of his arrest.
I'm now realizing that I made that mistake. And that's why I confessed that wasn't my name, Leo Nunez, that my name is Juan Carlos Oviedo.
Oviedo introduced us to the real Leo Nunez, a childhood friend he turned to when he sought a new identity. We spoke with Nunez at Oviedo's farm in the town of Bonao, an hour north of Santo Domingo.
When he came to you and asked you, what were your thoughts?
You didn't know what was going to happen, how far he could make it, and I told him, that's fine, no problem. Yes, I lent him my identity, and no doubt he was going to go through this. But the time has come, and he has to face things.
Why did you do it?
I did it because, since we were kids, we were like brothers, a friendship from school days, playing, riding bikes, and just imagine a close friend. When you love someone like that, as a brother, how do you say no?
Unlike Oviedo, Hernandez says he doesn't have a close relationship with the man whose identity he assumed.
Who is the real Fausto Carmona?
I mean, a far-removed relative, but we don't have much to do with each other.
This is the area Hernandez grew up in, and this house closely resembles the one where his parents raised him and his 6 siblings. Hernandez said that in order to get his family out of poverty, he was willing to do almost anything, including falsifying his name and age.
I wanted to improve things for my family, and that was the way that I could do it.
My family lives off of me, you know what I mean? A lot of people here in my village, I help them. A lot of poor people also live off of me.
Oviedo and Hernandez say that as they advanced through the minors, they feared their darkest secret might be revealed.
I felt a lot of pressure every time that I'd move up from division to division, because I knew that each time my name was growing bigger. I knew that at some point they would find out about me, and I felt a lot of pressure.
Every year, as I saw my progress going up and up, I had that on my mind. I think about my name, you know. I always think, and as I just said, I was a little afraid of doing it because I come from humble beginnings.
Hernandez and Oviedo remain in the DR, and both say they're cooperating with authorities. Dominican criminal charges against them have been dropped, but neither Hernandez nor Oviedo has been able to obtain the necessary paperwork to re-enter the U.S.
Make sure you do what you're supposed to do. Get ready.
Meanwhile, New Marlins manager Ozzie Guillen is without the established reliever Oviedo.
We want him here, of course. He helped us. He's a big part of the ball club. It's a sad moment because this kid made that mistake to do what he did. And all of a sudden, this kid losing time, losing money. And I think this kid is very, very disappointing, very embarrassed about the situation.
And Indians manager Manny Acta doesn't have Hernandez, a workhorse starter.
For me, it's tough because you don't find 200 innings in every corner in the United States. That's something that you value because he really contributes big time not only to our club but also for the development of our young kids.
Many Dominican players like Reds pitcher Johnny Cueto routinely renew their work visas to return to the U.S. for spring training. Oviedo and Hernandez remain in limbo, awaiting a U.S. government ruling in their cases. The U.S. Embassy in Santo Domingo declined an interview request by Outside the Lines, saying it could not comment on individual cases, but added, "The consequences of visa fraud are quite serious and can include ineligibility for life to travel to the United States. This is why the embassy works very closely with Major League Baseball to combat age and identity fraud." The two big league pitchers with uncertain futures say they are telling examples for anyone who is considering or has committed identity fraud.
If they have that same problem, let them step forward. Stand up for what they did, you know, so that they can try to straighten things up with the name that God gave them.
What I would tell them is that I don't want them to go through what I was going through, and share that same message with the kids who are growing up now and haven't signed yet, so they don't go through what I went through. The fans, what I want to do is apologize for what has happened. I hope to go back there and play again, and I hope they'll forgive me.